Why I can't make it this time. But this is the time that we need people to begin to sacrifice, because we're living in an uncertain time when we talk about the time of Trump. One day he's against Syria, one day he's with Syria, the next day he's bombing Syria. We are in uncertain times. And while we are in these uncertain times, we need to make sure that we have a strategy to make sure that we can direct the path going forward before us. And so that's why I am continuing to employ people as I exhale today, continuing to employ people, continuing to admonish them, to push them, to say, I got to get off the couch. I can't just be a radio revolutionary. I can't just be an armchair activist. I got to get involved. And so join us at the National Convention. And as we go forward in action and not just a bunch of talking. So I'm excelling. I feel better now. I got that out. And we can get to the phone line.
And I appreciate you getting that out. And many people that are coming have expressed that they're making sacrifice. And we're putting extra places out that's going to cost us more. Because this is the first meeting of its kind under Trump, and it is imperative to us. And let me say this, I've been waiting for you to come on, because I have challenged, as you know, Senator Sanders is coming, and the head of the Democratic National Committee, and Eric Holder, many of our government officials, and Senator Chuck Schumer's coming. I've challenged a lot of the mayors to come, including your mayor, and who has said he will try to be there one day, and Mayor de Blasio and Mayor Baraka, about 15 mayors. But as Negrophilia goes, people say, oh, Sharpton's endorsing your mayor. I don't even know his name. And let me, Dugan. But I am inviting the mayors of major cities to talk about what they're doing in pension funds and all, and their opponents. So let me just make that real clear, that when anyone tells you, for our WCHB listeners, the Detroit listeners, I don't call folks' name anymore, and I do not get into back and forth. But if you hear anybody say that Reverend Sharpton is making an endorsement, you tell him that he would used to call you a buck dancing on katana, but he don't talk like that no more. He don't talk like that no more. So just tell him I heard him say you're incorrect. But if you had lied on me back in the day, I would have called you a buck dancing on katana and bought you some tap shoes. But I don't act like that no more. And let me also say this, in all candor, and not only for Detroit, but for anybody around the country. I'm going into Atlanta with Mary Pat on Tuesday and all. I have been accused of many things. Shy is not one of them. If I'm going to endorse somebody or stand for something, I'm going to say that. Don't nobody ever remember me being afraid to say something. In New York, when a black guy was running that supported stop and frisk, I supported a white guy over him named Bill de Blasio, and he won. So you ain't got to ever guess about where I'm at. Just turn on radio every day. I will tell you whether you agree, disagree, like it or not. I will tell you where I'm at. So all of this, throw the rock and hide your hand. You ain't got to do that with me, because I will tell you straight up where I'm at. And I didn't want to get into that without you on the air, because I don't do anything in the state of Michigan, particularly in most places, without talking to you. But rather than me and you clarifying it on the phone, I said, let me straighten that out on the air. Because I know, I've been black 3 times. I was born a black baby. I became a black boy. I grew up to become a black man. I know how some black folk got to go through their negrophilia. So I figure I'd straighten that out. Now, let's get back to you had to get yours out. I had to get mine out. So now that both of us have exhaled, let's go to Atlanta, 1380 WAOK. To Catherine. Catherine, you're keeping it real with Reverend Charles Williams and Reverend Al Sharpton.
Good afternoon, Reverend Al and Reverend Charles. I'm calling because I saw something on ABC News saying that the attack in Syria was Putin was advised of it, and he then advised the Syrian government that they knew, and all their planes and all their equipment and everything was taken out of that area. So it was just an attack for show.
Thank you for your call, Catherine. Let's go to Dwight in Detroit, home of Mildred Gaddis, WCHB, and your home too, Reverend Williams. You're keeping it real with Al Sharpton and Charles Williams.
How you doing, Reverend Sharpton and Reverend Williams?
Good.
You know, 2 weeks ago I called you and I told you that I was not going to react to every tweet, every news report, but I still have something to say. I told you, Reverend, that I was going to get me about some popcorn, some potato chips, peanuts, a cold drink, and sit and watch this dog and pony show play out like a TV show. And let me tell you how I found that peace. I had a mother call into our station, and she gave us 2 verses from one of the passages in the Bible. But when I looked at it and saw that it was only a half a page long, I read the whole chapter. I read 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. And after I read that chapter, it gave me the peace that took my blood pressure from 120/80 to 120/70. And I would suggest that any Christian that has any doubts about what's happening today is to go and read that chapter. And maybe they will find the peace that I found to help sustain me endure what we're going through. Now, Reverend, I can sum up what's happening with this new administration in 2 words: helter skelter. And this guy, Steve Bannon, told us in the beginning what they were going to do. He said he was going to rock the boat and shake it up. Every time we get close to what's going on with Killer and Putin, he averts our attention somewhere else. Now, here we are today talking about Syria. But he was meeting with one of the most powerful men in the world yesterday, the head of China. I want to know what they had to talk about. I want to know what came out of that meeting. Because this little dog and pony show about shooting some missiles into Syria because some kids got killed by some sarin gas. I haven't heard this president say anything about those kids in Freetown that were murdered, those babies that were murdered in Freetown. I haven't heard him say one word about the 100,000 people in Flint, Michigan that were poisoned with lead. And he's going to go have, excuse me,
in his country. In his country,
Yeah.
Dwight.
That's right.
I mean, you talking about, and I'm all for we've got to deal with Syria. But we also have to deal with Flint, where he said we're going to make America great again. And Dwight is absolutely right, Reverend Williams. That's why I'm saying we have got to deal with substantive issues. He's meeting with the president of China yesterday and today. Well, what does that do about the trade agreements with China, where they're making more in terms of their exports to the U.S. than we American companies are making as imports? That's why I'm having all the mayors. I want Mayor de Blasio. I want Mayor Duggan, all of them there, so they can say what are they doing with pension funds? What are they doing redevelopment? What are they doing economic opportunity? We get so caught up in, as he says, a horse and pony show. We reduce everything to emotional and theater rather than substance. And that's why I like it when Dwight calls. Let me take a break. We'll be right back. Charles Williams, Helter Skelter, I like that. Charles Williams, Al Sharpton, keeping it real. Be right back.